Well, good morning from Mission Control Houston, and welcome to today's International Space Station update. You're joining us here inside of the flight control room in Houston, Texas, where the Orbit 2 team is currently on console, monitoring all of the systems on board this orbiting complex. The team being led today by Flight Director Chris Edlin there on the right, and joining him at the Capcom position, communicating with our astronauts in orbit, is Jack Fisher. Those astronauts in orbit right now are the crew of Expedition 32. Comprised of 6 members right now, but only for about another week or so. Starting all the way on the left there, we have Japan Aerospace Exploration astronaut Aki Hoshide, and then Russian cosmonaut Yuri Malenchenko, and then NASA astronaut Sunita Williams. Then our 3 over there on the right coming home just a little under a week from today. We have NASA astronaut Joe Acaba, and then Expedition 32 Commander Gennady Padalka, and finally our 3rd Russian cosmonaut Sergei Revin. So a busy day on orbit today for these crew members, engaging in a number of get-ahead activities for that upcoming undocking, starting with NASA astronaut Joe Acaba, who is doing some fit checks on the entry suits that he will be wearing. He'll be doing those alongside with Padalka and Revin as they continue to prep their Soyuz TMA-04M vehicle for eventual undocking from the International Space Station and landing. Again, just under a week from today, scheduled to take place at 9:54 p.m. Central Time this upcoming Sunday. Aside from that entry suit checkout, he'll be doing some item stowage inside of the Soyuz, as it does have a limited amount of cargo space, as it's able to return some items down along with these astronauts. He'll also be reviewing some robotic operation procedures for the upcoming HTV-3 release. He'll be doing that alongside with Aki Hoshide, and he'll also be getting involved in some medical experiments today, working on the integrated cardiovascular. He'll be setting up some monitors on his own body as that integrated cardiovascular looks to track and monitor any cardiac atrophy or the weakening of the heart muscle inside of these astronauts as they're exposed to that microgravity environment of space for long durations of time. Moving on, our 2nd NASA astronaut, Sunita Williams, is doing some medical experiments of her own. She, upon waking up this morning, took a number of samples, both blood and urine, for storage in their human research facility. She'll be storing those inside of the Melfi, or the minus 80-degree laboratory freezer for ISS. It's a cryogenic freezer on board the station used for storing a number of different biological and human samples. She'll also be working with the VO2 max experiment, which is very similar to one's. There's a very similar experiment down here on Earth, and it looks to document any changes in the maximum oxygen uptake for these crew members. Another ongoing medical experiment as they're exposed to microgravity for long durations of time. She'll also be taking some time out for some maintenance work, inspecting the Treadmill 2 hardware, one of the multiple workout devices on board the International Space Station. Aki Hoshide, again, reviewing those robotic operations procedures as they prepare to release the HTV-3 vehicle a little bit later this week on Wednesday. Coming up on NASA TV, like all major events, we'll have unberthing coverage beginning at 5:30 a.m. Central Time. All of these times will be in Central, with the actual unberthing from the station, as it's currently attached to the Earth-facing side of the Harmony module. That unberthing happening at 5:55 a.m., and then we'll cut away for a while, and then come back on the air at 10:30 a.m. for release coverage, with eventual release from the robotic arm of that unmanned cargo craft taking place at 10:50 a.m. Central Time. You can see the station complex here with that HTV-3 all the way in the left there. It's one of 3 current unmanned robotic craft that are used to resupply the International Space Station. So Aki going through and reviewing the procedures for that today, and also packing and stowing some items onto the HTV, as well as assisting a few of our astronauts in moving some items over to the Soyuz for its undocking a little bit later on Sunday. And then our Expedition 32 commander, Gennady Padalka, is doing a descent simulation and consulting the return equipment list, doing some stowage checkouts, and he'll be joined in that simulation by Sergei Revin, who will be riding in that Soyuz craft with him down to the steppes of Kazakhstan as they return to Earth coming up on Sunday. And aside from that, he'll be involved in a fairly complex physics study on board the International Space Station, the Kolonovsky crystal, which looks to study methods of different control dynamics of specialized crystal structures as they're manipulated with magnetic fields under microgravity conditions. Our Soyuz landing crew seen here, Joe Acaba, Gennady Padalka, and Sergei Revin, have been on board the International Space Station since May 16th, and following their undocking, Expedition 32 will formally end, and Expedition 33 will begin with Sunita Williams taking over command. So our second Russian cosmonaut on board the station, Sergei Revin, will also be coming home as doing those descent simulations alongside Padalka, and also photographing a microorganism experiment on board the station that'll be coming back down with them on that Soyuz vehicle. And then our final Russian cosmonaut, Yuri Malenchenko, who will remain on board to become one of our Expedition 33 flight engineers, is doing some TV checkouts alongside Russian personnel and getting signals from Russian ground sites and installing some video gear. Then he'll also be doing some routine replacement work on the Russian toilet system.